Like Judy Heumann said, independent living is not doing things by yourself, but being in charge of how things are done.
And what she has done is break down the stereotype of people that are in wheelchairs that are nonverbal.
I would rather people be honest if they don't understand me, then to pretend.
But at the same time, you'd rather people be honest than to, if they don't understand you, than to pretend that they do.
When people see people with disabilities like Kay, there's an immediate assumption that they are not intelligent beings. And once you get to know Kay, you realize how wrong that stereotype is. So she has affected everyone from teachers to other children to doctors, everyone that she comes in contact with. She's just a really good ambassador for youth with disabilities.
When he's here at home, he wants to be a part of that classroom, and he can't do that. He wants to go out and do all kinds of things, and he can't. But with this, with the Vigo, it's going to allow him to be in that room with those kids and with his fellow students, learning and participating in ways that he would never be able to do.
When I met him, he was a ball of joy. He was smiling, he was happy, he was laughing. And the way he was connecting with school was that his caregiver, who took care of him during the day, would turn on the iPad on FaceTime and hold the iPad up with him, and then the teacher at school would connect to an iPad there, and then they will only be able to communicate during a few minutes at a time, and came across a Vigo. And I thought to myself, this would be wonderful for him to try, if we could just try it with him. And he was actually able to control the device himself with just his eyes. And when he initially did, it was just, I mean, his father, his mother, it was just like a clip, because he was able to do something from himself.
Logan's disability is much more severe, so at every level we are working towards kids becoming more independent, and this is a perfect picture of Logan gaining independence.
Did you imagine driving a robot with your eyes? Yeah. Man, what if everybody could do that? We would.
But one of the students said, "What about Logan? We need to include him." And again, sorry, I have waterworks for him. I think it's beautiful that they see Logan instead of a robot. They see him.
You're almost there, Logan. You're almost there. Come on.
Because he has got, like I said before, his cognitive abilities and his ability to communicate are not hindered in hardly any way. So just having his presence there via the telecommunications is going to make all the difference in the world.
Well, I really want to improve the world for people with disabilities. I'm not sure exactly what that means long term. Maybe writing, maybe law school. Probably something I haven't thought of yet too.
He has never just quit anything. I mean, he struggles. He may put it away for a while and then come back, and he just is constantly pushing himself. I've had to force him to take a break.
I've worked with Brian since he was in high school. That's when I first met him. He was very interested in obtaining a new communication device at that point in time. The next semester he was headed into college, and so we got him set up through VR with all the equipment and devices and software that he needed for to be successful in college.
Through the North Carolina Assistive Technology Program, I received a new state-of-the-art computer with easy keys, the same technology that Stephen Hawking uses. It helps me type quicker as well as speak. I am part of the 2014 class of partners in policy making in North Carolina. I have been approached to be a part of the Mayor's Council for People with Disabilities. If I did not have the technology, I would not be able to do any of these jobs.
My proudest moment, I guess, is he graduated summa cum laude. I never did. He's done a lot of things I could never do. Writing, he's got so much inside him, and typically what he speaks is what goes into print.
Well, we were raised on a farm, the Baca farm, and I didn't want the farm, so I learned how to weld and do iron work and just build in general. Support is a big part of recovery with anybody, you know. No, it was community. It was a community thing. Yeah.
You drive the four-wheeler?
Yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, I made a little thing on it where I can reach down and change gears with my hand. We had bought a used bucket truck off a sale, and it was a good-looking truck. It had a leaking hydraulic cylinder, and we pulled the cylinder off, which we got a lot of hydraulic stuff. I mean, that's nothing new. We fixed the leak and put it back on, and somehow we got air in the lines. And I got into bucket playing with it, swinging it around, and it just had a bad move, and it tossed me out just like throwing water out of ice out of a cup, you know. Well, the other lift that I got at the shop, it lifts from the bottom, and you don't have to have all this headroom. I was in Atlanta, and I met a gentleman down there he'd had an accident. He was a farmer, and we started talking, and he made a comment about agribility in Georgia, and I'd never heard tell of that. So when I got home, I put it up on the computer and got a number over in Greenville, and I called it, and they referred me to Michelle. And it was just kind of that's been, it's 3 years now, 2 years?
2 years.
I know it's been at least 2 years.
You know, Neil and Teresa here, you know, they're a family, they have a farm, they've got workers involved, his brother's involved. So things can get kind of complex. You've got a lot of relationships, both on a professional and a personal level, that have to be factored into that. So agribility, really, we try to look at the farm as a whole.
Just try to do this on a daily basis, not as much as I really should. And that kind of gave me another mindset. I mean, I won't never be back 100%. Whatever percent I gain back is one closer, you know. So, and you just have to adjust and move on. So yeah, just a minor setback.
born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I became deaf at the age of 3. My mom didn't know what caused my deafness. We think it could have been genes or from a high fever that I had or some other reason when I was 3. You know, there are so many different ways to communicate. If I have a staff meeting while I'm here in my office, I will usually call a sign language interpreter to come in and interpret the meeting with us. That's one way for me to communicate with people who don't know anything about sign language. If I need to call somebody, I mean, I have several options, but my top preference is using the video phone. And that's the service I mentioned earlier, video relay service that I briefly described. Yes, this is the video phone behind me.
So show us that for a minute.
Sure. What I do is I press the remote and it brings up my screen. Right now I have my video privacy screen enabled, and now that I've disabled that, you can see where I can enter in a phone number. So for example, I typed in that number and I can press enter, and then it will bring up a screen and you'll see the video interpreter in the corner of the screen. And that's how it works, and I will sign to the video interpreter. She'll voice what I'm saying to the caller or to whoever's on the line. Well, because of the technology, there's so much awesome technology out there. It's extremely useful. It helps me in my job. It makes it easier. And my job is just, the technology is wonderful. I can't even say that enough. Without this technology, I may not have been hired for this job. No, I probably wouldn't be able to do the job, you know?
Because the way he was using the Echo, it's easier for him to use that to do the direct selection, and it was more efficient and faster for him. So that in combination with the joystick was the right way to go. And plus we can make shortcuts and different kinds of keyboards and stuff for him, templates. The joystick, he uses that instead of a typical mouse. It's easier for him to navigate that way. It has just like the little joystick controller, and then it has the left-right buttons and also a button to hit to make it drag. When he first started doing this, he had the love of sports, and so he went through and did the video aspect, that path. So then that's how it started. Then he was approached by his church to start videoing the sermons there. So what was great is I think it's starting to spread around the community, the good work that he's doing. They see him at the games, they see him in church. He has Facebook and YouTube, and it's just starting to expand to where people know about him, about Ike, and all the great things he's doing.
We're called Vets to Vets United, meaning Veterinarians to Veterans United Incorporated. And what we do is we rescue, we train, and we partner animals with veterans who are suffering from loneliness, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and physical disabilities, and traumatic brain injury. Okay, help me. That's it. Okay, drop it. Drop it. Tell me. That's it. Drop it. Drop it. Here. 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 Brittany. Here. Yeah. Bring it here. Brittany, bring it here. The type of services we offer are specific to the needs of each veteran. So, for example, if a veteran needs stability, then we would train the dog to be a stability dog, which means that the veteran would be able to put a little bit of weight on the dog if they felt like they were going to fall, or if they felt like they had fallen and they needed help to get up. Then we teach the dog to brace so that that veteran can use the dog in order to help them to get up off of the floor.
3 months before I was diagnosed with bone marrow cancer, I got Brody, and Brody stayed with me in the house for 5 months, and because I couldn't go out of the house or anything because I had no immune system. So he's been a real godsend for me. He started out being just a companion, but now he's learning how to do things to help me.
A veteran cannot bend down and pick up keys or pick up items that have been dropped. We would like for that dog to be able to have retrieval instincts. And if they don't, they certainly can be taught. It just may take a little bit longer in order to teach that dog how to retrieve items.
This is an emergency. If you want to continue this call, press 5 now.
Well, Winston can do quite a few things. Winston can open and close a refrigerator door and take something out of the refrigerator. Winston can open a door for you if it has something on it that he can grab a hold of with his mouth.
Countless testimonies that you can see show that these dogs actually have saved many veterans' lives, and it's the unconditional love that the animals can give to the veteran, or any human being for that matter, that makes a huge difference, in addition to the service that we teach the dogs to provide for mitigating disabilities for the veterans.
Command mode off. Hi, comma. New paragraph. My name is Sarah Bosse, period. Assistive technology has helped me to be more independent in my daily life, period. Some of my favorite adaptations have been very simple, comma, requiring little maintenance or upkeep. Alright, so I left quite a bit of room for my cooling vest in the freezer. Again, this helps regulate my temperature. I cannot go outside where the temperature is above 72 degrees without this vest because my body can't sweat to cool me off. This one is considered a concealable vest, but I don't try. Eventually my diagnoses, which didn't, eventually my health problems got worse, and I came to the point where I was unable to manage the pain as well as the GI issues that I was having well enough to be able to work outside my home. So at that point, again, vocational rehab and then assistive technology became a more specific part of my life, and they helped me to get the equipment that I needed to be able to work from home. Yes, I had worked a number of jobs just trying to find things that suited both my strengths as well as my limitations. I made this when I was in OT school, and he's heavy, so he keeps my blanket in place. And so I'm really glad I had that opportunity, and at the same time, I would really like to do something very different and kind of expand my career goals at this time.
Go to the top. Oh, are you trying to make a joke?
To untie a dress.
You would wear a dress? Her favorite thing when she uses the device is to make jokes. And so it's, she probably said something inappropriate.
So she's so much more than just an intellectual person. She is funny. She is a little ironic and wry, and she's just got that quirky sense of humor that she just loves to. She loves to play practical jokes. You know, one day we were walking down the street, and some guy came running by without a shirt on, and she was in her wheelchair, and she sat up and said, "Oh yeah!" And When the guy turned around, she slumped down like this, so it looked like it was me.
It's definitely amazing to me that technology can do something like that, that it can enable someone who doesn't necessarily have a clear voice to use theirs. For Lexi, it's a little bit different because I can understand her pretty well when she talks. But when I see other kids do it, it's just incredible for me.
You know, had I not known before I was a parent of a kid with a severe disability, that still within that person is the person that they are at their core. This is the person that they were meant to be, and is still in there. And and I think that is what assistive technology to me is getting that, letting people know, not just parents and siblings, but letting people know that person that is in there is not just a person in a wheelchair. It's not just a person with a severe disability. This is, they have their own personalities just like anybody else, and there's a real person in there.
Why everybody should have a voice? Because everybody should be able to express that voice in their head that's screaming. Because if you don't have that voice, you have that voice inside of your head, that inner voice that's screaming what you want to communicate to the world, how you want to manage your daily activities.
I'm a web developer and I use my device to write long documentation and email to my clients and speak to them over the telephone and Skype.
Kind of a funny story about Kevin. Because I'm a real Mac user and he's a Linux user, right? And when Tammy Paraboom, who works in our office, first met Kevin, we were actually on the other side of the center and we were engaged in kind of a heated discussion over the values of the Macintosh operating system over the Linux operating system. And the conversation was going so rapidly and in such real time, Tammy didn't realize that he was an AAC user.
Things like how to get the cadence up to be faster with the device and things like as you call somebody on the phone, you have a choice if they pick up or have a voicemail, get it, what do you do to be prepared for what situations? And sometimes because the business that drives the industry is not for long-time users that know the device is happy to give somebody a voice. I'm on the other side saying, okay, you have the voice now, what are you going to use it for?